It's prepping.
It shows me it's already on.
Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to Daybreak Live. This is the third Thursday of May, or the last Thursday of May, sorry, during which we always have our dear friend, Sarah Samir, who comes to us from Chicago at the moment. She'll be coming to us from a little different place next time. We'll talk about that then. And she brings us young adult novels for our literary consideration. I'm really excited about this new segment because this is the kind of literature that is going to change the world. This is the kind of literature that stories that talk about real people with real issues and problems and challenges and obstacles, who really grow and who maintain their faith at the same time that they're overcoming things with their friends, and they're they're social people. They do things, they have friends, they have fun, but they're also practicing Muslims. And so this kind of thing really hopefully, inshallah, will benefit the Muslim young people who read them, because they'll see themselves reflected, and benefit the mainstream American people who read them because they will see that humanizing effect of Muslims. All right, Sarah, so tell us, what book have you brought for us this month?
Today, we're talking about More to the Story by Henna Khan.
More to the Story by Henna Khan. Tell us about Henna Khan first. What are the things have you read by her?
I've read her Amina's Voice, which is a very popular book, and Amina's Song. She also came out with the Zayd Salim series, and one new book, I think, for a younger level. I forgot what it's called, but she is pretty famous, and she has written a lot of middle grade novels and books for lower ages as well.
When did you get turned on to her? When did you start reading her stuff or first hear about her?
She was probably the first author that I had started reading Muslim novels from. And so after reading hers, I kind of got more interested into, reading books featuring Muslim characters. And so I think I had first read her Amina's Voice and her More to the Story. And I always loved More to the Story. And it was always one of those books that was like, yeah, that started me off. And it's one of my favorites.
So I read it in preparation for our discussion today, and I really enjoyed it as well. Can you give us a synopsis?
Yeah. So it's basically about a girl named Jamila, and and by the way, this is a Muslim version of Little Woman. So any Little Woman fans, this is like a shorter but great version, Islamic version of Little Woman. So it's about a girl named Jamila, who is the second sister in her family, just like Jo in Little Woman. And so she is in 21st century, like right now, and she faces regular challenges that Muslim people and people all over America really face. So she, her cousin, or her dad's best friend's nephew, comes and visits. He's from Britain, or he's from London, and she's also really into writing and journaling, so that she has that dream for that to become her career. And so she's really into that. And so when she faces some problems and some really challenging conflicts in her life, she wants to journal that and show it to the world. But then there's obviously guidelines that come with journaling, and there's how much you can say. So she faces some challenges with what gets published. And I also wanted to pick this book because for the last few interviews, we've been doing more serious books and books featuring problems outside of America. And so I really liked the realism of this book. I really liked how I could really relate. And so I wanted to try something a little bit more lighthearted, even though it had big conflicts, a little bit more lighthearted and fun this time.
Which of the sisters did you relate to most?
I would say probably Jamila, the main character, because I do really like writing and school, and she's into that, and she really cares for her sisters, and she wants to make a difference.
Yeah, so tell us, can you talk a little bit about the parallel between Little Women and Henna Khan's latest, what is it? It's not her latest book, and I read it. I can't remember now what it's called. We're just talking about it. What is it called? More to the Story.
So I haven't finished Little Woman. I've read a little bit of it, but I do know. So first of all, I read a little bit about Henna Khan's motivation towards the story. And as a kid, she always really loved Little Woman. And she has her sister's copy, and it was just her favorite. And so this features very similar conflicts. And I love how it is taking things from the past and relating it to the future. So like in Little Woman, the second youngest sister, I'm pretty sure her name is Beth. Yeah, Beth, she gets sick. And in here, Bisma is also diagnosed with a more modern kind of sickness. So there's also Little Woman starts with the line, "This is the worst Christmas ever," or something like that. And this starts with the line, "This is the worst Eid ever." So in both books, the father is away. In Little Woman, the father is away because of war. And in More to the Story, the father is away on a work trip because they're running low financially. And there's also the names also are similar. The oldest sister in Little Woman is Mary, and in here it's Miriam. And then it's Joe in Little Woman, or Josephine, and here it's Jamila. In Little Woman, the second youngest is Beth, and here it's Bisma, and then Amy, and here it's Eliza. So there's some really cool connections throughout the book. Like you can find quotes and little things that you can relate to Little Woman, which I find really cool.
Nice, almost like little Easter eggs. For the people who have read Little Women, they'll find them in there. So how does she talk to me a little bit about the publishing snafu? Like she's on her school newspaper, trying to really get her feet under her to begin her journalism career. And then what happens? What happens that something gets a snafu that is published that it's not supposed to be?
So obviously, journaling for her, in the beginning part of the book, she has a really smooth impression on it, but then she finds out that it's a little bit more complicated. But it's also exciting because this year she's a 7th grader and she gets the title of editor-in-chief, I believe, and or features editor, I'm pretty sure. And so she's the assistant of the editor-in-chief, Travis, who is an 8th grader, and they don't really get along. She always feels like Travis shoots down her ideas. And so she wants to write about something really interesting, like a debate or news, while Travis wants to focus on things like should the school have a vending machine and things like that. But so then she wants to publish a story. So she finds that Ali, the kid from London who visits, she finds that he has an interesting past. His father passed away, and so he doesn't like to talk. He's not very comfortable talking about what happened, and he's gave Jamila a few snippets about his life in London when his father died, and she had written about it. Now, she soon found out that Ali did not want her to publish it. So she had written about another topic. Both newspapers were around the topic of microaggression and a little bit of racism. So she wants to tie that into Ali's story, but that doesn't work out. So she writes another story, not including Ali's life. And then she sends them to Travis, but in the drive, both stories are still there because she forgot or she was not able to delete the previous file with Ali's story on it. So that ends up getting published. And then Ali doesn't reply to any of her texts or anything, and she's super worried and anxious that like what's going to happen now. And her yeah, her teacher, sorry,
you just imagine that feeling that
yeah,
that it's done and there's nothing you can do about it and you didn't mean to do it, and how are you going to explain? And
it's especially with like when you're publishing it to the whole school, like everyone can see it and you can't really take that back. So yeah, she gets really anxious, and then her teacher or the leader of her newspaper club, she consoles her and she's like, yeah, you need to make sure that you be very careful when you're publishing. And but she had the dreams of becoming editor-in-chief next year as an 8th grader, and she feels like now that she made one mistake, it's done. Like she can't do more, but she finds how to fix the mistake with Ali. And her teacher is not mad at her. It's more of a learning moment that, you know, this is how I can fix my mistake and this is how I can learn from it.
I really like the part where Travis is telling her, you know, I don't want you to write these serious things. I want you to write about these other things that to her are like floofy, you know, like very light-hearted things, where she wants to write serious things that matter in the world. It's just like when Jo went and tried to get her pieces published, that the editors told her, why are you go write about sewing and knitting and whatnot. Go write for the women's section.
Yeah. So in Little Woman, it's like about, you know, women being in that sense, it's like you know, do women stuff. And in here, it's like it focuses more on racism.
Yeah.
In that journaling area.
Have you ever experienced any of that kind of microaggressions or racism in your own school?
No, alhamdulillah, it's been fine in my school.
Alhamdulillah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Have you had any friends that have experienced anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't have many Muslim friends since I go to public school, so I'm not really sure about that.
I've been pleasantly surprised that I moved to a place where there aren't any other Muslims, and I've been pleasantly surprised how kind people are and how open they are, and you know, just alhamdulillah, the same kind of experience that you seem to have had in school.
I'm not in a place with many Muslims either right now.
Does More to the Story have a sequel?
No, More to the Story does not have a sequel, but yeah, Henna Khan's other books, she has series and sequels, but More to the Story doesn't. I think because Little Woman doesn't have a sequel.
Yeah.
She didn't want to have one for this because it wouldn't be based on anything.
So what would you give it in your 5-star rating system, the Sarah system?
I'd give it like a 4.
Okay.
When I was younger, I enjoyed this book so much, but I think I've read this a million times, and each time I've had a different experience. Like one time I felt like it was perfect, and one time when I was more into deep and serious books, I thought this was a little too lighthearted. So it's definitely not the book. If where you're like thrilling adventure twists kind of thing. It's very relatable, and something that I think Hannah Khan does so well in her books, which is one of the main reasons I read them, is they're not all about, the plot twists and everything. There's definitely conflicts, but it's so much about the realism, and I feel like I can imagine myself sitting there. I can imagine the parents, the siblings, everything is just so well thought out, so realistic that I can relate it to people in my own life. And that's something that Hannah Khan has spot on.
MashaAllah, and that's the mark of a good writer, of a great writer.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts about more to the story? Or can you tell us also, can you tell us what you're bringing next month?
Next month, I'm planning to read Golden Girl by Reem Farouki. I have just read it for my book club, and I'm doing this for the interview, so I'm planning to swap and do Golden Girl for the interview.
Nice.
I think it's going to be really fun because I really like that book. And it's a little bit of a different book that we're bringing.
Oh, interesting. Now I'm intrigued. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, though, it's time for, what's it time for?
Stop the press.
Stop the presses! All right, you let me know if I've asked any of these before. I think these are all new ones, okay? What is a job that you could never imagine doing?
Probably something in the animal/nature field. I think I'm more of a tech person. I can't imagine myself being working with animals and plants. I'm into the body and the mind, and I'm definitely into digital things like graphic designing.
Beautiful. We have graphic design classes in middle school, which you're moving on up to next September.
Okay. I'll definitely see if I can get into those.
All right. So, what skill do you wish you had? This is the one I think. Did we do this one before?
No.
Okay. What skill do you wish you had?
Probably maybe humor. I feel like I don't have an amazing sense of humor. I always want to make people laugh, but I don't like. I have friends that can tell amazing jokes, and I'm always like, oh, I want to say something like that.
Isn't it so amazing? Sometimes I feel, depending on who I'm around, my humor changes. Like I can be funny around people who are really close to me, but then when it's a bigger group of people, I can't be funny. Like it doesn't.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm. Whenever I'm like with a bigger class or with a bigger group, I'm not as social as I am with one or two people or with my family.
Yeah, so common. All right, and the last one is, what food do you crave more than any other?
Probably either sushi or my dad's food. My dad makes like fusion food, like everything. He makes Chinese, Indian, Pakistani, everything. Like he grew up in Malaysia, so he makes American food, everything. So
yeah, I've heard that Malaysia is a culinary melting pot in addition to ethnic melting pot.
I just
I've never had Filipino food. Tell me about a Filipino thing that he makes.
I don't know if he's made any. He makes like, I don't know if he's made any Filipino food exactly.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Filipino. Sorry.
Oh no, I said Chinese, American, Indian, Pakistani, that kind of stuff. He makes a Brazilian chicken. He makes a Turkish chicken. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I went to visit two of my daughters last weekend, and they took me to a place in Tulsa, Oklahoma called The Chicken and the Wolf. And it sells what are called Nashville hot chicken sandwiches.
Oh.
So
Okay.
the chicken was really, really spicy, and it was so delicious. So ever since I went there, it's been almost a month now. Every day I crave those chicken sandwiches. So if you ever have a chance to eat a Nashville hot chicken sandwich, like this isn't even in Nashville, but they're known like that they came from Nashville. So if you have a chance to eat a Nashville hot chicken sandwich and you like spicy stuff, go for it. So what do you like in sushi? You like
Sushi,
rolls or sashimi or
rolls. I go with my dad, and yeah, we're just both foodies. And um, I like sushi rolls with avocado, or there's something at my local sushi place called a crunch roll. I like that as well.
aw, nice. All right, my dearest Sarah Samir, thank you so much for blessing us with your beautiful book reviews. And we look forward to Golden Girl for next time.
Mhm.
So if anybody would like to read ahead, please feel free. And we will see you next month at the very last Thursday of the month at 6 o'clock p.m. for Daybreak Live with Sarah Samir.
All right.
Thank you, Sarah. Have a great week.
You too. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, it is gone. All right. Thank you so much.
I think we're
Have a
still
great